PlayStation have struggled in recent years to put on a show that has attracted a lot of interest. I am happy to announce that this trend has been broken with yesterday's State of Play. Sony delivered an interesting show of many different genres and styles. Let me break down the full run of show while focusing on my highlights. Kicking off the show in an unexpected fashion was Lumines Arise. This is a rhythm-based Tetris-like which tracks as it's from the developers of Tetris Effect. It is being described as an experience for all the senses, and that becomes even more apparent as it releases for PSVR 2 as well as PS5 this fall. Following on from this was the expected Capcom entrance. In my heart of hearts, I would have pinned this to be the reveal of Resident Evil 9, but sadly it was Pragmata. Turns out this game is real. I must say though, this was probably the most disappointing showing of the night for me. I can't really pinpoint what it was, but the game looked really janky. This sci-fi hacking narrative game finally got a more solid release date of 2026, using the same piece of paper that they used to give us the big middle finger a couple of years ago. One of my big highlights of the show was Romeo is a Dead Man. This trailer was absolutely fucking wild. Skipping between a hand-drawn art style to the 3D striking visuals of gameplay, we saw gameplay reflecting a hack and slash, a beat 'em up, third-person shooter, and lots of blood. This reveal was high octane and manic in all the right ways. Developer Grasshopper Manufacture are describing this game as an ultra-violent science fiction action game, and that definitely comes across in this trailer. Just look at it here, it looks absolutely mental. Taking from the PlayStation blog, Grasshopper expand on the game by saying, super bloody action, crazy twists and turns to blow players' minds, and a whole mess of kinda stereotypical gimmicks, all rolled into one wild ride. Our hero Romeo Stargazer is a man stuck between life and death. His own was saved mere seconds before the end by way of a time paradox that shattered the space-time continuum, which was created by a genius scientist screwing around. Now, Romeo is an FBI space-time special agent dead man, and sporting a rad mask called Dead Gear, must hunt space-time's most wanted fugitives through multiple universes. Get all that? Yeah. The story is as insane as the gameplay. Following on from the wacky and wild, we had the disgusting and gruesome with Silent Hill F. The reveal trailer back in March got lots of attention due to the main factors of it being a period piece set in Japan and being shockingly explicit with its body horror. This trailer had lots of gameplay and I was impressed with what we saw. It looked like some quality survival horror sequences which I have come to expect from a Silent Hill game. The slice they decided to display really showcased the heavy psychological horror with the dialogue, which I thought was pretty intense. Then, of course, was the plentiful horrific creatures Hinako, the protagonist, will come face to face with. Silent Hill F will come screaming onto our screens on September 25th, so get ready to turn out the lights and put your headphones on. Actually, scratch that, my lights are staying on. Bloodstained the Scarlet Engagement was next, and I would best describe this as a 2.5D side-scroller that is more focused on the combat than the platforming. There was a focus on party synergy here, and you'll be rotating between the two playable heroes. This had a 2026 date slapped onto it. Hot on its heels was Digimon Story Time Stranger, which is a name that I really struggle to say, but also a game that I'm not that interested in. For anyone that is excited, they won't have long to wait as it releases on October 3rd. Square Enix showed up to nobody's surprise, revealing Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles. This is a package deal that includes the classic version of the game as well as the enhanced version. The classic version will be the replica of the 1997 release in both graphics and gameplay. The enhanced version includes various improvements which, as listed in the PlayStation blog, are as follows. The enhanced version, which adds fully voiced dialogue, an optimized and updated UI, graphical improvements, and a number of other quality of life features, including the more accessible Squire difficulty. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles releases on September 30th. The third-party segment included showings and release dates for Baby Steps September 8th, Everybody's Hot Shots Golf September 5th, with an exclusive Pac-Man character for pre-orders, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, that awesome-looking side-scroller with great music, July 31st, and then one of my other highlights of the show, Hirogami. This is a lovely little indie game we saw revealed a couple of years ago. It's origami focused where we as the player can experience adventure through the vehicle of different paper shapes. It is a gorgeous looking action adventure game with platforming elements, releasing on September 3rd. If September was a person, it would definitely be Sony's favorite child after this event. We got a brief look at the realistic climbing game Cairn, which has a demo available today and releases on November 5th. And then Digital Eclipse showed up with their new Mortal Kombat collection. This collection includes games from handhelds, arcades, and consoles. This collection, dubbed the Legacy Collection, hits later this year. And yes, collection is spelt with a K. Going hand in hand with this announcement was the reveal of the new fight stick named Project Defiant. Another showing of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater also popped up here. Personally, I've seen more than enough of this game now, and I just want to play it when it releases on August 28th. Undoubtedly, one of the biggest reveals was Nioh 3. Team Ninja showed off their classic combat mechanics with the big spectacle boss fights we'd expect of a Nioh game. I'm sure this title is going to be hard as nails, just like the others, which is just right for all the avid Souls fans out there. The main change with this entry is the addition of Ninja Style, which you can try out right now as they also dropped a demo. The full game is set to release in early 2026. Next, we got a Thief VR game, and then a multiplayer game called Tides of Annihilation. If I'm being completely honest, I still don't really understand what Tides of Annihilation is, but it looks really cool graphically. Team Asobi announced 5 more challenge maps for Astrobot hitting later this year, with additional new special bots to find. Sea of Remnants caught my attention as initially it looked like a Sea of Thieves-like, but then we saw elements of turn-based combat and I got confused. Over on the PlayStation blog, the devs describe it as follows. While you might find familiar tags to explain the gameplay within, such as Ocean Adventure RPG, Simulation, Survival Building, Turn-based Strategy, we'd rather introduce it with this single line. This is an infinite voyage looping between death and rebirth, a journey where we row forward tirelessly only to return to where it all began. This implies to me that there may even be roguelike mechanics introduced, but make of that what you will. My personal game of the show was next, Sword of the Sea. This was a visually striking adventure platformer where you play as a character who rides through the vast sand dunes on a sword that doubles as a surfboard/hoverboard, appropriately named the Hover Sword. The game does seem to be honing in on the movement side with a focus on tricks and style. With Pro Skater 3 and 4 hitting in early July, this will feel like a natural progression to keep that itch scratched when it comes to PS5 and PC on August 19th. Continuing on from this was the sizzle reel for the PS Plus catalog. This had some cool additions for the Classics collection. Then was the second biggest announcement of the show, and an unexpected one at that. IO Interactive's new 007 game, First Light. The reason nobody really expected this is because IOI already announced their own showcase this Friday to show off the game. While I imagine on Friday we will get a deeper dive into the gameplay, it wasn't absent here. The Hitman developers formula was definitely present in the brief clips we got, but it wasn't enough to really get excited. I can't wait to see more of how all the gadgets will be incorporated, as well as the traditional Bond vehicles that we got a glimpse of here. What this trailer did achieve was setting the scene of the kind of Bond we will be living through. It is a prequel where MI6 are scouting him from the Navy to be a 00 agent, hence the tagline, "Earn the number." This isn't really anything we've seen from Bond outside of the books, so I'm really intrigued and honestly very invested to learn more. I like the idea of him being a little rough around the edges and screwing things up and not being an incredibly polished super spy. My one concern as a British man is that the VA didn't sound British to me. I have rewatched it a couple of times and I still can't tell. It almost sounds like an American putting on a British accent, but it may not have been the best lines picked for this trailer. The character model does look a lot like actor Patrick Gibson, and if he is voiced by him too, then it would fit into the British accent, as although Patrick is Irish, he was born in London. I imagine we will find out on Friday. This game is still a long way out though, with a 2026 release. Ghost of Yotei got an ad here for a deep dive in July, and then to close out the show was the biggest announcement. Guilty Gear developers Arc System Works are teaming up with Marvel to make a Marvel fighting game. I am not into fighting games, but I can appreciate how incredible Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls looks. It's incredibly flashy and beautifully animated, and I can tell that this game is going to have a really long tail in that community and at EVOs. The original roster of characters here looks fantastic. I especially especially like the look of Dr. Doom and Storm. As an overview from the PlayStation blog, PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games have joined forces to realize the latest in tag team fighters, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Experience the Marvel universe like never before with reimagined characters and stages, a heart-pounding soundtrack, intuitive gameplay mechanics, and jaw-dropping visuals that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Whether this is your first fighting game or you are a veteran of the genre, Arc has incorporated gameplay controls and mechanics that are easy to pick up and play, and yet still offer the depth and versatility for high-level competition. It then goes on to say, generally a team versus fighting game requires the player to learn multiple characters, but for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls you only need to master one character in order to play the game. We have designed the mechanics in such a way that you can perform a variety of actions with either traditional fighting game inputs or simple inputs. With the press of a few buttons, multiple characters can appear on screen to provide backup or attack together, creating a new and exciting team versus battle experience. There was a big spotlight on this game, rightly so in my opinion. I thought it was deserving as a show closer even though I'm not into these types of games. So that's it, that was everything shown at the State of Play. What did you like the look of most and what's been firmly circled in your calendars? If you enjoy this content and want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. Or if you didn't like it, then please leave a thumbs down and I will try to be better next time. Keep an eye out for showcase breakdowns for the rest of this week as I'll be doing SGF and Xbox this coming Sunday. And for everything else, casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.